Hey, everybody! Thanks for coming out. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on, and we're going to be covering the latest declassification that just dropped yesterday, thanks to Senator Ron Johnson and Chuck Grassley, who have released a bunch of newly declassified text messages and documents related to the Spygate scandal. Okay. Um, Here's the main message that everybody is paying most attention to. It's this one. It's a text message sent by Struck, deletes the page. It's dated, it's July 28th of 2016. Now, you want to remember that for 4 years now, it's been loudly claimed by everyone involved in the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, which was then passed to the Mueller Special Counsel's office. It's been claimed by everyone involved that the official start of the federal investigations of the Trump campaign is July 31st, 2016. And so this is what makes this newly declassified text message so explosive. Because in this text message, Druck is saying to Page, he says, so 3 things I want to talk to you about. And the first one is still redacted. But the second thing he wants to discuss is our open CI investigations relating to Trump's Russian connections. Okay, that's the key one, the second one there. Okay. Notice he uses the plural word, investigations. So he says there are already, as of July 28, 2016, at least 2. I mean, it could be more than 2, but if you use the plural there, he's talking about at least 2 counterintelligence investigations into Trump and his supposed Russian connections. Now, one of the reasons this is so explosive, and of course the great Lee Smith, the investigative journalist Lee Smith, put his finger right on it. Let me see if I can find. I have not linked that tweet by Lee Smith, but I want to do that because I want you to see it. I just realized I did not link it in the presentations yet. So, he pointed out that July 28th, the day that Struck is sending this text message to Lisa Page, that's the same day that then CIA Director John Brennan was briefing President Obama about a Hillary Clinton smear campaign that was being launched to a hoax being launched to target the Trump campaign for colluding with the Russians. Okay, I have it right here. I'm going to drop it in the here just a second. Let me make a new thing. I'm using XSplit Broadcast, a very excellent program. I recommend it highly to anyone that wants to do any streaming or broadcasting. Okay, doing a web page here. Drop the URL in there. Okay. So Lee Smith immediately sussed out when these newly declassified text messages were released that this happens to be the same day that Brennan is briefing Obama on the Clinton plan to vilify candidate Trump as a Russian agent. So that's why this text is explosive, because it puts the finger right on several things at once. Okay, they've been lying for years, claiming that nobody was doing any investigating of the Trump campaign until George Papadopoulos is chatting up Alexander Downer in that wine room in the United Kingdom, that nothing was happening before then. And then the FBI got tipped off on that, and then on the 31st day of July, they opened up Crossfire Hurricane, and they'll tell you, they've been telling everybody, that's when this all started. Okay, and now we have more direct documentary evidence that is not true. They had multiple counterintelligence investigations going on by July 28th, because and I want to point something else out that a lot of people are not going to focus on this. I'm one of the few people that will tell you this. Okay, they've had these text messages all along. Certain things have been redacted. They kept these things redacted until now. It's not until now that Ratcliffe and perhaps Trump himself, he still has his declassification authority, and DNI Ratcliffe, they're declassifying. They are removing the redactions from these text messages. You know, they did this with Durham. Let me remind everybody. Back in October, in a court filing, Sidney Powell revealed something. She had been given newly unredacted text messages between Strzok and Page. Let's look at the first one. Okay, now I had seen this text message before. We got this a long time ago. The thing was, the section with Durham's name had been redacted. You were not allowed to see that John Durham was mentioned in these text messages until October of this year. So I had read over this particular section several times before, but see the areas that are underlined, it's not really that visible, I apologize. The lines that are underlined in red, these were redacted. You were not allowed to see that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page are discussing John Durham between themselves, and they're doing this discussion in April of 2017. You were not allowed to see that until this was declassified and given to Sidney Powell this October. So this first text message, this is the one where Strzok breaks the bad news to Lisa. You know, they had hoped that the Spygate leak investigation would be handled in-house, that it would go to the FBI's internal National Security Division. That's what NSD stands for there. So he says here, on a text message sent on April 12th, 2017, he tells Lisa, the bad news regarding matter we talked about yesterday is that, and this name is cut off, ZT said they were told on Friday that case will go to John Durham, not NSD. So this was bad news for these guys. They were really hoping that leak investigation would stay in-house, where the FBI itself could control where that investigation went, and they got the bad news on April 12th that is not how it was going down. Jeff Sessions, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, had given that case to Durham. Now later on, the following month, there was another text message that Strzok and Page sent between each other. And once again, they're discussing John Durham. These particular text messages were sent on May 17th of 2017. So Strzok sends a message to Page where he says, also, when is the Gang of Eight? Should I keep my interview with John D? Which means by May 17th, Strzok already had a scheduled interview. He's already been asked to come in for an interview with U.S. Attorney John Durham. And so later on, he returns to the subject several hours later. He says, I'm going to continue to postpone my interview with Durham. And of course, I talked about this last October, when this first came out, about how this blew up a whole lot of theories about when Durham actually started. A lot of people are assuming Durham only started digging into Spygate when he was publicly tapped by Attorney General William Barr to be the designated public leader of the investigation into how exactly did the whole Russia hoax get started, the whole Russiagate hoax. How did it start? How did they end up getting FISA warrants granted when there wasn't any real evidence for any of this? Okay, so a lot of people assume that's when it started, May 2019. Well, we already knew, if you were paying attention and you were following the details and the timeline, people like Tracy Beans and Jeff Carlson and myself, we knew back in January of 2019 Durham was leading leak investigations into Spygate, because that was contained in the transcripts from the congressional testimony of former FBI General Counsel James Baker. When he was being questioned about a leak by Representatives Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan, Baker's lawyer, Daniel Levin, leaned in and said, hey, look, my client's currently under federal investigation on this matter, and I'm going to instruct him not to answer any questions about it. And so Meadows and Jordan are like, whoa, wait, what? There's a federal investigation? Oh, you mean Huber. You mean Huber is the investigator. Oh, and then Daniel Levin, the lawyer, says, no, not Huber, Durham. And Jordan doesn't quite catch it. He says, no, you mean Huber, John Huber of Utah. And so Levin is forced to explicitly say the name. He says, no, John Durham, U.S. Attorney John Durham, is investigating my client as part of a leak probe. And of course, this testimony by Baker was given in October of 2018. So that means that, everybody that has been following Spygate and following it closely, like myself and like Tracy Baines and Jeff Carlson and all these other great people out there, Hans Markey, there's a lot of them out there, very great researchers. We were still assuming that meant Durham started up sometime in 2018. Must have. No, we were still making that assumption. Because obviously Baker isn't informed he's the target of a federal leak investigation led by Durham just the day before he tells this to the congressional committee. So obviously it's some weeks or months before that Mr. Baker became aware that he's the target of a federal leak investigation. So up until this October, me and everybody else were assuming, okay, this means Durham started in sometime in 2018. We don't really know when, but it's sometime in 2018. Okay, good. But then, like I just showed you, these two text messages blew that theory out of the water. We now know that Durham was on the job, already tapped by Sessions and already leading leak investigations by April of 2017. That's a mere 3 months after President Donald J. Trump was inaugurated in January of 2017. So about 3 months later, Durham's already been appointed by Jeff Sessions to investigate leaks. And Strzok and Page are two of the first people he was looking at. And I want you to refresh your memory that everybody was assuming it was Horowitz. It was Inspector General Horowitz, Michael Horowitz of the Department of Justice, that brought Page and Strzok's text messages to the attention of Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. And that's how those two people, after having just joined the Mueller Special Counsel, That's how they ended up being unceremoniously yanked off that council, off that special counsel team. And they ended up, I don't know where they put Page, but we know they took Strzok and they stuck his ass in the FBI's Human Resource Department for more than a year. But now the picture is becoming a little clearer. Now, okay, Durham's already investigating these people by April of 2017. It wasn't Horowitz, it was Durham that found those text messages and got both these lovebirds yanked off the Mueller Special Counsel team. And of course, by December of 2017, Rod Rosenstein has authorized the release of all their text messages to the Congress, and it all goes public, and Strzok and Page become nationally famous. But nobody'd ever heard a word about John Durham at that point. I want you to think about that. Ponder the meaning of that. John Durham's on the job by April 2017. He's already making the key Spygate people come in and get grilled by him over who leaked what. May 2017 was when the Mueller Special Counsel team was first formed. And by September, it may have been in August, both Strzok and Page have been yanked off that team. So, like I said from the beginning, Thomas Wichter and I used to kick around theories. We would theorize that the Mueller Special Counsel was being set up, they were being watched, and one of the first signs that they had that somebody was looking over their shoulder was when they got to watch Strzok and Page suddenly, magically disappear. And then by December of 2017, they watched Strzok and Page become nationally famous. Nationally famous. So now you know why the Mueller Special Counsel team made a habit of wiping their phones regularly, because that's how they caught them. That's how they caught Page and Strzok. Everybody knew that. Everybody in the world knew that. They caught Page and Strzok because they were talking about all this stuff on their official work phones. And the assumption was, once Horowitz got his hands on those official work phones and he looked at those text messages that were in there, that was game over for Strzok and Page. And they're telling themselves, well, we're going to be smarter than that. We're going to wipe our phones before we hand them over. We'll make sure all the phones are wiped because we're smarter. And I want you to think about this, that the entire time the Mueller Special Counsel is in operation, I'm starting to suspect from the very beginning, by April 2017, there was already another shadow special counsel office that had been created that was deep in the background, watching everybody. Okay. So these new text messages, they show 4 years worth of lies. They have multiple open counterintelligence investigations about Trump's fake Russian connections. And they're open before Crossfire Hurricane opens. Okay? And I want you to pay attention to the date here. The date here is July 28th, 2016. Now, remember what else was going on July 28th, 2016? This is the letter from Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe is addressed to the Honorable Lindsey Graham. It's dated on September 29, 2020. It didn't become public till October, early October. Okay, here's what Ratcliffe said. He said, Chairman Graham, in response to your request for Intelligence Community information related to the Federal Bureau of Investigation Crossfire Hurricane investigation, I have declassified the following. In late July 2016, U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis alleging that U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had approved the campaign plan to stir up a scandal against U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump by tying him to Putin and the Russians' hacking of the Democratic National Committee. The IC does not know the accuracy of this allegation or the extent to which the Russian intelligence analysis may reflect exaggeration or fabrication. Now, second point, this is the explosive one. According to his handwritten notes, former Central Intelligence Agency Director Brennan subsequently briefed President Obama and other senior national security officials on the intelligence, including the alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on July 26, 2016, of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by Russian security services. Now, how do you top that? Simple. You top that with the third point about James Comey, the FBI director. On the 7th September 2016, U.S. intelligence officials forwarded an investigative referral to FBI Director James Comey and Deputy Assistant Director of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok regarding U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections as a means of distracting the public from her use of a private mail server. Yeah, so the whole time he's blabbing to Lisa Page about their open CI, open counterintelligence investigations of the Trump campaign, Peter Strzok, along with James Comey, had already been briefed that this is a Hillary Clinton dirty trick campaign. It came straight from Hillary Clinton. So what that explosive declassification proves is these people knew all along. They knew the whole time that this came straight from the Hillary Clinton camp. But they kept going anyway. They kept after Trump anyway. So, here we are. It's now December 2020. And so, like I said, Winter and I used to kick around theories that the Mueller Special Counsel, they let these guys think that they were getting everything they wanted. When they were out there in the front, James Comey leaked his memo. He got in front of Congress. He demanded the appointment of a special counsel to investigate this president for his Russian collusion and his possible obstruction of justice. And it looked like, hey, they got exactly what they wanted. They even got the guy they wanted to head the special counsel, former FBI Director Bob Mueller. They got the guy they wanted. They got Bob. Good old Bob. Nobody knew a damn thing about Durham at that time. Nobody knew Durham was already on the job. He's already after these people. He's already interviewing them. And of course, by December 2017, when the Strzok-Page text messages become a national sensation, every single member of the Mueller team realizes okay. But when we finish our program, make damn sure you wipe your phone. You don't want to end up like Strzok and Page, man. Make sure you wipe that damn phone before you hand it over. Okay. Everybody's watching the Mueller team. Nobody even knows that Durham's there. And look, hey, I have to admit I'm speculating about part of this, because I along with Victor was saying all along back in 2017 we were saying this. They're setting these guys up. They're being watched. Somebody, we didn't know who at that point. Somebody is watching these guys. Somebody behind the curtain. Somebody behind the scenes. And they're not leaking anything about it, and they're keeping it on the down low. The OPSEC must be incredible. And these people aren't going to leak any of this, so we don't know who it is, but somebody is watching these guys. And now it comes out, okay, Comey and Brennan, this is the one thing that they never wanted this to come out. This is the thing, you think about it. This ended any speculation about the Spygate scandal. How much did they know? When they kept going all through 2017 and 2018, right? They kept investigating Trump even after he was inaugurated. They kept going after, they kept spying on him. They kept renewing the FISA warrants. Okay, at what point did they become aware this whole thing was a hoax from the Clinton camp? And that declassification right there by DNI Ratcliffe, that declassification was went public in early October. That shows you they knew even before they officially started. They give July 31st as the official start date. They know before they even started that this is all a hoax. It's coming from the Clinton camp. So there's so many lives that are destroyed by this one declass right here where they're trying to say, okay, nothing was happening, nothing was going on. And then about July 28th, we caught wind of the Papadopoulos chat with Alexander Downer in the wine room in the United Kingdom. And then 3 days later, we start Crossfire Hurricane. And hey, that's already blown up. That's been blown up. You guys knew before you even launched Crossfire Hurricane, this whole thing was a hoax. So that means they played along with it. They wanted to get Trump. They were desperate to get Trump. And we all remember what Brennan said when they hit him with this, when he realized, damn, they'd done it. They actually done it. They declassified his notes. They revealed he was briefing Obama and other top national security figures about this intelligence that the Clinton campaign was launching, this smear to vilify Trump. Okay, so they know now. So he comes out and says, okay, I still remember the smirk Brennan had on his face when he said this. He said, even if that's the way it happened, it wasn't illegal. In other words, if it turns out the Clinton campaign, this is what he's going to say, the Clinton campaign pulled a fast one on us, okay? Even if it turns out the Clinton campaign tricked us all, that Steele guy and all the stuff that they were giving us, it was all fake, it was all being paid for by the Clinton campaign. None of this was illegal. That's a hell of a defense. No. So here we are, it's December 2020. We just had new declassifications that show there were multiple investigations of the Trump campaign already going on before they ever even launched Crossfire Hurricane. And they've lied about this before you. So I want you to think about this. Nobody likes the timing. That's pretty much a given. Nobody likes timing. Everybody wishes this had come out a year ago or whatever. But you got to remember this. We don't know everything. We're only being shown one piece at a time. The people who know everything, the people who have it all, they're rationing it out. It's like a drip, drip, drip campaign. Okay, for whatever reason. Okay, like I said, I don't have the big picture. I don't know why they chose the drip, drip, drip method and why they're doing this now, okay? Why didn't they just drop it all in October? Hell, why didn't they drop it all in 2018? Well, they know I don't. Okay, but they're showing this now. Now, today, somebody in charge of this decided it was time. It was time for everybody to know that the FBI people and the DOJ people and the Mueller special counsel people involved in this were lying all along when they said there were no investigations of Trump and his campaign going on prior to July 31st, 2016. Somebody has decided it is time. It is time for everybody to know the truth. And so this came out. It came out now. So just like somebody decided back in October with that court filing with those two Drucken page text messages, somebody decided it was time. It was time to let everybody know that John Durham was already investigating these people by April 2017. For 3 years, they decided it wasn't time, and they hid the fact that it was Durham. They hid the fact that they were putting off being interviewed by John Durham. Okay? Now, what did we just learn about a week and a half ago? One of the last things Barr officially did as Attorney General, he revealed that he had written a letter back on October 19th where I think I want to say this accurately, he revealed John Durham is leading a new special counsel's office. See, the way the media covers it, it's like John Durham only got this special counsel's appointment on October 19th. You know, that Barr took his little magic wand, and he said, "Hey, John, come here. Wave my little magic wand over your head. Presto, chango, you're now a special counsel." And he did that on October 19th. Okay, go back and read the letter. He is affirming and revealing that John Durham is leading a new special counsel's office. He's not saying that happened right this minute. The moment I put my signature on this letter, it becomes official. You, John Durham, are now a special counsel. Okay, look. This guy, Durham, has been functioning as a special counsel for several years now. That's when you look at how they deep six this guy. They deep six any mention of his name. They did everything they could to keep his name out of the limelight while he did his work quietly out of the way in the background. Okay, until that was amazing. If you think about it, look at the people this guy's been investigating. I have I have it here somewhere. The people, the political connections, the political clout that these people have. I want you to look at the pictures here. You have former FBI directors, you have former top Department of Justice officials, you have former top intelligence officials, you have former presidents and first ladies and presidential candidates, you have former attorney generals. I mean, that is, these people are, you can't go any higher up the totem pole than these people right here, okay? And it always struck me as kind of funny back when, back in May of 2019, when Barr made it official, he brings out Durham, goes, yes, this is John Durham, this is the guy. John Durham is the guy. He's the guy. I'm now putting him in charge of investigating how this Spygate hoax got started, how the Russiagate hoax, the Trump collusion hoax began, how they managed to get all these FISA warrants based on fraud. Okay, this is the guy who's going to get to the bottom of this. And, okay, one thing that always struck me as really funny about that is that John Durham is the mayor U.S. attorney from Connecticut with the limited powers of a single U.S. attorney from Connecticut, investigating all these people by himself out of his U.S. attorney's office in Connecticut. I'm going to be honest with you, okay? that always looked kind of funny to me. This one guy, this U.S. attorney from the state of Connecticut. Think, about all the jurisdictional issues that happen. Okay, we'll go back to that picture. Look how many different states, how many different agencies that all these people had worked in. What kind of jurisdictional issues would Durham come up with pursuing all these people? Well, as we know, there didn't seem to be any jurisdictional issues for Durham. Hell, there didn't even seem to be any national barriers to Durham's investigation. We remember when we found out he's going to Italy, he's going to the United Kingdom, he's flying to Australia. I mean, he's visiting, going to foreign countries as part of this investigation. So it always struck me kind of funny, and I would try to say something that, and some of my columns and my editors would make me change it. And it wasn't just Durham. I would try to call Durham a special investigator. He's a special investigator. So, no. The editors would say he's a U.S. attorney. I ran into the same problem with Jeffrey Jensen. You remember who Jeffrey Jensen is? That's the U.S. attorney from the Eastern District of Missouri. That's the guy that William Barr tapped to go into the Mueller Special Counsel's office. They were working out of the D.C. U.S. Attorney's office in Washington. But Barr tapped Jensen to go into that office and find out what was really happening in the Flynn case. And I tried to call Jensen a special investigator, right? It's like kind of a special counsel. And the editors wouldn't let me do that. But look, that's what a special counsel does. A special counsel is somebody who's sent in to investigate the government, okay? He's sent in to investigate government wrongdoing. That's exactly what this is. So I was told I can't do that. I can't call them special counsel to special investigators. I have to use their official titles. Okay, so I have to call John Durham just an ordinary U.S. attorney, and Jeffrey Jensen, who's going into, basically investigating the previous special counsel. That's what he was doing, right? Jeffrey Jensen, what's he doing? He's going into the Mueller Special Counsel's office, and he's digging through their files, and he's looking for, and I suspect he knew what was in there. He knew what he was looking for. All the exculpatory Flynn documents that both the Crossfire Hurricane team and the Mueller Special Counsel were hiding and had not turned over to the Flynn defense. And of course, he found them. He found all the documents, and all the documents had the official Special Counsel's office stamp right there on the bottom of the document, demonstrating that they had this stuff and they held it back so they could continue pursuing the case against General Flynn. So, but you can't call Jensen a special counsel. Okay, see, this is now becoming clear if based on what you know now, that Barr came out a week and a half ago and he said Durham now has his own special counsel's office. And the weight and scope that this new special counsel's office has, the scope that they have includes investigating the previous special counsel that was led by this guy, Bob Mueller. I mean, he said that right there in the letter. Yes, the Durham Special Counsel is investigating the Mueller Special Counsel. I just love this picture of Bob Mueller. Like, I'm being what? What? I'm being what? Yes, you're being investigated. Bob, you and your whole team are being investigated by a new special counsel. And here's the thing. I think it's kind of obvious. They may never come out and admit it. It's kind of obvious that Durham was functioning as a special counsel long before he got the official title. And that these other U.S. attorneys like Huber and Bash and Jensen have been working under him, but they kept this under wraps and they didn't say a word about it. until they were ready to bring it out in the last couple of weeks. Now, you don't have to agree with the strategy. You can think it's a terrible strategy. You can say, wow, this doesn't make any sense. This sucks. Yeah, okay, fine. You can say that. But I'm saying, look at what's happened. Look at what they did. Okay? Durham was functioning like a special counsel. Hell, he's visiting foreign countries as part of his investigation. I don't think you do that with an ordinary U.S. attorney from Connecticut. Okay, so, and then Barr shows that. Barr shows, yes, Durham is investigating the Mueller special counsel. It's like, and it goes right back to these theories that Victor and I used to kick around in 2017. Were these guys being set up? I mean, if you fully grasp the national security implications of this investigation, I used to labor to show people this. When you fully grasp the scope of this thing, the massive scope of it. I mean, this guy, if anybody's going to go after these people and expose this, you're basically investigating the entire Obama administration, aren't you? You're investigating the Obama White House. You're investigating the Obama Department of Justice. You're investigating the Obama State Department. You're investigating the Obama CIA. And you're investigating their ties and the uses that they may have made of foreign intelligence services. You're investigating all of this. And now we find out he's also, in addition to all of that, almost the entire width and breadth of the Obama administration, Durham's scope also includes the Mueller special counsel. And I want to remind you, they admitted long ago, Durham probe is now a criminal probe. It is a criminal investigation. You're not doing some counterintelligence thing, okay? This is a criminal investigation of this. So there's a lot going on, and they're going to keep rolling stuff out. They keep rolling stuff out, and the more that comes out, the more I think Victor and I are going to be vindicated, and another guy that's going to be vindicated is this guy, because I want to tell you, Devin Nunes is a hero. Devin Nunes is a guy. I look at the attacks that this guy took for the last 4 years, was standing up and I mean, he was attacked for speaking the truth. He was viciously attacked. His family was attacked. His staff was slandered. They're still going after Kash Patel, and they're still going after him. And he was right all along. He said that they used a still dossier to get the FISA warrants. That lying-ass Clarence Schiff, he spent years lying about it. The facts came out. Nunes was vindicated. Okay, there's two other things that Devin Nunes has always insisted from the very beginning. He said Crossfire Hurricane was started without a real intelligence predicate. He said they faked their predicate, okay? And he's been found to be right, about that. And there's something else that Nunes has been saying for 4 years. And he has said repeatedly that the official start date for the federal investigation of the Trump campaign, July 31st, 2016, is not true. He said this for 4 years. The whole time, he had that lying-ass Clarence Schiff in his face, the media attacking him for saying that, he stuck to his guns. He insisted that this was the truth, that they started earlier than they said they did. And then today, Devin Nunes is vindicated again. Because they did start earlier than they said they did. Yep. Multiple counterintelligence investigations. So the only question I have right now, the only question that I'm waiting to see what drops. That I tell you, you look at what dropped in last week. The CCP spy database, the influence peddling databases, all the embedded spies here on the West. You look at the Swalwell thing that dropped. The things going on with the election fraud is just hard to keep up with it all. So much of this stuff is dropping so fast together. And then right in the middle of that, we have this drop that proves that there were other counterintelligence investigations of the Trump campaign and his associates going on. And we still don't know what they are. Okay, think about that. We don't know what they are. what were these other counterintelligence investigations that Strzok is talking about here? What are they? They're already started. They're already in progress by July 28, 2016. It's probably not Crossfire Hurricane. Okay, but even if you assume one of them is Crossfire Hurricane, that they just didn't admit they started it until July 31st. Even if one of them is Crossfire Hurricane, what's the other one? He said open CI investigations, which means there's more than one. So that means 4 years after all this started, somebody has held back the nature of at least one more counterintelligence investigation of the Trump campaign. And I can't wait to find out what it is. And the way stuff is dropping, we might not have to wait that much longer to find out what it is. So I know a lot of you are anxious about the election, so I'll talk about that for a couple minutes here. I don't want you to be worried. Trump has all the cards, all right? Trump has military people that were on top of this, okay? The Democrats spent months telegraphing what they were going to do. Trump has all his countermeasures in place, okay? And I've talked before, people talk about why didn't he stop it? Why didn't he stop the fraud? Well, sure, they're sending federal agents in there to seize control of these cities. There was no way to stop these people from what they were determined to do. He could talk about what they were going to do. He could say, well, they're gonna have now. Oh, he did talk about it. Did you know that? Remember that speech he gave on election night about 1 o'clock in the morning? He talked about 4 a.m. ballot dumps. he was talking about what they were going to do before they did it. Okay, so just keep in mind, Trump knows what he's doing. Looking for this. This thing that I made. I don't think Trump is that worried. Trump is going golfing. Okay, Trump knows what is coming. All right. The fact that they're following a drip campaign with the Spygate stuff, and the fact that we're finding all kinds of stuff about Dominion and these foreign nations interfering in our election. Ratcliffe is preparing a report. Now, I gotta go over this again briefly. Just keep this in mind. We live in a media environment. There are tons of disinformation floating around out there. Okay, so I just want to caution you. The only persons that you want to be listening to is Trump. Listen to what he says. There are a lot of people out there that are making claims. A lot of people out there are going to be saying things. A lot of them are panicking. Panic clouds your reason, okay? And people forget what they know, all right? And what we know is that Trump already has all the evidence, and he's sucking them in. There's a strategy he's pursuing, okay? And he's confident. He says on January 5th, he's established a timer. He said on January 5th, they're going to win this runoff election for these 2 senators in Georgia. And he says on January 6th, he said this, we win back the White House. So he knows what is going to happen. He knows what he expects to happen. So keep in mind, this is a guy that he's constantly surprises people. He constantly has his own people out there working on this. Now, when I made this memo yesterday, there were 35 days to the inauguration. Now there's 34 days to the inauguration. And every single day, stuff is going to drop. Every single day. What's the point now? Stuff is dropping every single day. Yesterday, it was more emails, new emails showing that Hunter Biden was being promised payments from a Chinese company. He'd been promised he was going to be getting this money. And the Daily Caller published a story. They have these emails. So these emails are out there now. I did a brief set about them. I don't have time to link it now. But these emails are out there. Look up the Daily Caller, Hunter Biden, Chinese company payments. And he was being promised big money. And so, of course, the Biden campaign had no comment. So I'm telling you, every day stuff is going to break. And on multiple fronts, the Spygate front, the election fraud front, and the Hunter Biden investigation front. Okay, there's going to be things dropping on multiple issues all across the board. And so the next couple of weeks are going to be pretty hectic. I have a hard time writing some columns now because the column I just finished, I just turned in, the news of this new declassification about there being multiple counterintelligence investigations open before Crossfire Hurricane even launched. That broke while I was writing the column. I had to go back and rewrite the whole second half, the whole second half of the column to factor in this new declassification. So, we're just arguing about strategy. Why are they using this strategy, okay? You just got to keep one thing in mind. This guy knows everything we don't, all right? If for some reason he has to do it this way, okay, I'm sure he has good reasons for doing it this way, and they're dropping it a piece at a time, okay? So I trust him. It just all boils down to that in the end. You either trust that he knows what he's doing or you don't. There are a lot of people that are Trump fans. They think Trump's a nice guy. They think he's he's pretty smart and he has their best interests at heart. But when the rubber meets the road, they don't trust him to make good personnel decisions. They don't trust him to do the right thing. So that's what it comes down to. So I'm going to end with that. Thank you all for coming out, all 119 of you. Wow, that's nice. I'm glad you guys decided to make me part of your Thursday afternoon. God bless you, and I'll do another stream soon. Until then, keep your chin up. Trump's got this. God bless you.